Okay, so we're at Riverside Boat Club. Going to do a little trip on the Charles, up to the Weeks Bridge, down to the basin. Just sort of demonstrate what I'm looking at, what I'm keeping in mind. So first things first, we got this 4 just pulled across us. We're going to push off in a minute and start heading up to them, so we'll just keep an eye on them, see what they're doing. We should stay over to the right behind the dock. How's the count coming? Okay, so I'm just going to look behind. Doesn't look like there's anything coming now. All hands on the dock. Lean out and push off. Ready, go. Okay, bow, couple of strokes. Okay, so first thing, I can't see that 4 anymore, so we'll just make sure we get them on our starboard side so I can bring them into view again. There they are. Way enough. And now we should be set to go. All clear ahead. Bow 6, come forwards to the catch. No. Bow 4, come forwards. Legs only rowing, legs only. Ready, rope. And first thing, just pushing off the dock. We've got the Riverside Bridge just over on the port side shoulder here. Going to be going through the Cambridge Arch, the rightmost arch as we look at it at the moment. But for now, we'll just get ourselves out onto the right side of the river a little more after pushing off the dock. Should be good there, so I'm just going to straighten up a little bit. Keep that centre arch just on the port side shoulder. And then there's the Riverside Technology Centre off on the starboard side shoulder there, so we'll just keep those 2 points fixed. Double there, should be safe enough, no need to move over. Nothing else behind right now. Let's get the count coming all the way down to stroke. Yeah. Alright, 5 and 6 ready to come in, legs only rowing. In 2, 1, 2. Okay, and we got the other 8 moving off now, so they're going to be coming across us, so I'm actually going to move across just to give them a little bit of room. We're all clear behind, so I'm going to go take the centre arch after all. So we'll just do a little adjustment. Nothing too major, and now lining up with the Boston most arch and the Cambridge most arch in my view, so that we know we're heading straight for the centre. Alright, steady now as we come forwards, relax forwards, and we'll go to legs and bodies in 2, 1, 2. A little bit of wash coming down here. We'll just straighten up for the right side of the centre arch. And now that we're close, just do final adjustments as we come under. And full strokes with arms in 2, 1, 2. Alright, right now I don't know if I'm really going to catch up with this 8 before we get to Western Avenue, so all I'm going to do is just kind of hang where we are at the moment, keeping on the port side the Boston side arch in view, and on the starboard side the wall, so basically just heading straight for the buttress as it is right now, and then I'll make my decision a little bit later as to which arch we'll actually use. But this keeps us a safe distance to that 8 without being too far out into the middle of the river. If she moves over a little bit, we should both be able to get through the Cambridge Arch. It's wide enough on Western Avenue. so I'm just going to move over a little bit. There's a double, that double that passed us just ahead of the bridge. They look like they're moving though, so nothing too much to worry about there. We'll just keep an eye on them. And now we're fully lined up with the Cambridge Arch. Start to see the pillars of the bridge coming into view over the shoulders. Can do the final adjustments on the line with 10 strokes to go or so, just to make sure we're all clear. Got plenty of space with the other 8. Plenty of space with that left hand pillar and the port side blades. So we're going through nice and steady. Once we're through, we'll just move over a little bit to port, just to give the other 8 a little bit of room, make sure everyone's okay and comfortable. Weighing up in 2, 1, 2, and drop. Check it there. Okay, and stern 6, come forwards. Still all clear behind, just a couple of maybe an 8 or something coming up, so we'll just keep an eye on them when we turn at weeks. Come forwards, bow 6, sorry, stern 6. Legs only rowing, ready, rope. And for now, we don't want to get too tempted by the Weeks Bridge right now. Sort of just lining up in between these 2 church spires here, or whatever they are, the Harvard houses. That's pretty good for now. Just keeping those 2 markers on either side for a little bit longer, so that we don't move out too much into the centre of the river and start to interfere with crews that might be coming downstream through Weeks. So we'll just keep this line for the next probably 20 strokes or so. The other 8's just up ahead now. Everything else all clear. The double went up through Weeks, so we're clear to head on and spin. Legs and bodies in 2, 1, 2. Okay, now that we're starting to move up a little bit closer to Weeks, I'm just going to put a little bit of rudder on, start the initial turn, so that we start aiming for that blue tip spire there. And just bringing the Cambridge side of the Weeks Bridge directly over the port side shoulder of the stroke here. And full strokes with arms in 2. 1, single just coming through the bridge there. Have to remember them when we turn around. 1, oh, okay, you got him, yeah. 2, with arms. And because we're spinning, we'll just stay right to the right hand side, get out of the usual lane for going through Weeks, and we're weighing up in 2. Or in fact, weighing up there, drop and check it. Check it. Good. Okay, we'll just let the 8 move across, and there's nothing coming through Weeks right now. Nothing behind, although those 8s are moving up, so we'll get a move on. Spinning to port, ready, rope. Coaching launch is just coming ahead of the crews there, but we should be okay. Yep, all 8 rowing on, ready, rope. Weighing up in 2, 1, 2, and drop. Starboard's only rowing, ready, rope. And weighing up. Check it port, check it on port side. Okay, you can just about see that single going down through Western Ave now. The other 8 coming on our inside here. So we'll just straighten up, let them go, and we'll move off as quickly as possible. Nothing coming through the bridge right now. Okay, all 8, rowing on, 3/4 pressure, ready, row. Just to a rating of 17 or so, 17, 18 at most. Let's get a bit of steady state stuff going. Alright, so right now we're still basically coming around the Weeks Bend. You can see there's a little bit of a turn in the river before we get to the powerhouse, so we'll just get to that point in the bank where the other 8 is right now. That's where we'll straighten up, and from there it's a straight line. So right now just heading for the centre arch of Western. And as Western Avenue and Riverside Street Bridge arches line up, we'll just put the rudder onto starboard a little bit here. There you go, just 2 or 3 strokes of light rudder is enough. And we're on a straight line through those arches now. So over the starboard shoulder you've got the trees on the bank. Over the port shoulder we got the centre arch of the bridge, and we'll just hold it like that. Keep those 2 markers lined up. Just little adjustments as the boat twitches around to keep it straight. Scullers coming up through the centre arch as well on the wrong side of the river, so definitely not a good idea to use the centre arch at this point. Stick to the right arch unless absolutely necessary. So now we're getting 15 strokes, 10-15 strokes from the bridge. We got the 2 pillars coming into a better view, so final adjustments to take me under the centre of the arch. And that's all it takes. Western Avenue in 3, sit up, let's listen to the echo, on timing, now. Okay, and again as we come out here, basically lining up the same things, the trees on the riverbank to the starboard side, and over the port side shoulder, the centre arch of River Street. You can just about see the other 8 there. They've drifted out a little bit. Still probably about 5 lengths ahead, so nothing to worry about right now, but let's just keep those oars in vision so we can see if they stop or move across or anything like that. At the moment I can see them over the shoulder, so no problems there. Alright, steady on the rhythm, steady on the rhythm. Just nice lock on each time. There, press through, draw the finishes, platform there, platform there, that's it, that's it. You're at rating 18. Okay, so as we approach the bridge now, again, sort of 15 strokes or so away from the bridge, 10 strokes maybe. Now we've got the 2 pillars on either side of the arch coming into clear view over the shoulders of stroke, so we do our final adjustments just to make sure that we're going steady through the centre. Again, boats coming up through the centre arch of River Street, so stick to the right. Got about 3/8 coming up with a launch as well, so we'll stay nice and tucked into the wall here. Make sure we stay clear of them, should be no problems. There'll be a little bit of wash coming across, just in a little bit now from the previous launch. Got another launch there that's going to kick up a bit of wash in probably about 10 or 15 strokes as it comes across the river. So we'll look out for that on the water. Alright, and here again the river actually bends around to the starboard side before it bends around to port past Riverside Boat Club. So right here, right now, just lining up in between these 2 tall sets of buildings, but in about 3 or 4 strokes, you're going to put the rudder onto starboard and start heading towards that tall one on the right. So rudder's on now, just about got to the end of the wall. This is where the river bends, and now we're straight for that tall building, and we're just going to keep the line here for the next 300 or 400 metres really. Past Riverside Boat Club, coming back down. Okay, it's good work so far. Let's keep it up. Nice stroke there. Nice fluid stroke. Okay, you can just about see what looks like a pair or a double there, just off on the starboard side. They look like they're just sitting, maybe doing some adjustments, something like that. A union club. So we'll just keep them in mind. Hopefully they won't pull out in front of us. Got the other 8 just off to our port side, still in that line of view. Still just heading straight for this tall building, one of the BU buildings, I guess. And all clear directly ahead, so that's good. Rating 18. Okay, so hopefully that union double just stays where it is until we're past. We're basically just going to keep on this line until we essentially reach the riverbank, really. Just to make sure that we don't start drifting off into the middle of the bend here. We're going to keep our discipline and just head right to the bank and pick up the bank around Magazine Beach. So now that we're past this orange boom here, this is probably a good time just to start applying a little bit of rudder. Start taking that bend. So rudder's going to come onto port now. And we're just going to start to pick up that riverbank, and that's how we're going to steer for the next 300 or 400 metres round to the BU bridge over there. So let's not be tempted to move into the middle of the river. No need for it. There's going to be crews coming up as well. This is a wide stretch of river, but if you cut the corner it can become dangerous. Rating 18, good and steady here. And rudder's just still consistently onto port here, just moving around the bend. Probably about 3 boats widths away from the bank here, and that's pretty good. We'll just keep it there. Basically steering off the bank at this point. There's nothing that sticks out on this bank, so it's pretty straight, just line of trees. Where's that double? Okay, the double's still not moving off, but there is a 4 or quad behind us now. So we'll just keep an eye on them. No problems right now. Steady. And again, just try not to get distracted by the bridge in the distance. It's a common habit that people see a bridge or a landmark come into view and they just start heading straight for it. At this point, I'm still at least 250, maybe 300 meters away from it. No need to be lining up on that bridge quite yet. We'll just keep it off to the port side. Just keep this same 2 to 3 boats width distance from the bank. Essentially just heading for the next set of orange booms off there, just on the starboard side. Got a single scull as well that the 8's just passing. Have to just keep an eye on them as we head towards the bridge, because we could come up against them. We'll see what arch they use, and we'll just use the alternative, whatever it might be. I'm not going to push them one side or the other. We're just going to see what they do and do the opposite. Okay, the bank starts to fall away a little bit on the Boston side here now, so we can start using the bridge to guide us. Still just a little bit of port rudder. And we're just going to slowly line up on that middle arch. Hopefully the single stays to our port side, which it looks like they probably will be. The other 8's going through the middle arch, the second arch, the one near the road bridge pillar. Okay, and rudder's off now. Pretty much got a straight line on that middle arch. So again, with about 10, 15 strokes to go, I can start to see the 2 buttresses over Stroke's shoulders, and we're just going to keep that line, keep those 2 lined up right where they are, and through the centre we'll go. About 5 strokes to the BU bridge now. Final adjustments. We're all good where we are. Plenty of space. That single's going through the other arch. That's good. All clean and clear. Sit up now, sit up. It's a little hazy this morning, but we'll try and point out those distant landmarks on the Boston skyline. We're steering off. Keep the length now. Alright, and at this point we're really just sort of sticking to the bank a little bit. I don't know if it's going to come out on the video, but you can just about see the platform out there in the distance that sort of gives us our marker on the Harvard Bridge. But for the moment, again, we're not going to be tempted by that. Essentially, what we're doing at this point is just keeping the Hancock Tower, the new Hancock Tower, just on the starboard side. That's a pretty good line, heading straight for it, or just on the starboard side, take us out into the basin. Okay, the other eight's doing pauses now. You can just about see their blade tips pausing, so probably going to be catching up with them a little bit. So keep that in mind. And since Catherine seems to be moving over to the right side, I'm just going to straighten up a little bit here and move on to her port side. So we make a clear decision as soon as possible which side we want to take, rather than just following them all the way up the basin and potentially ending up in a bad situation if they stop and we don't notice. Still though, with the new Hancock Tower just off to the right, just over starboard side shoulders. Alright, let's get a little spring in the step here. This is your outing. Just think collectively, think together. No real evidence of any other boats on the water right now. You can see the puddles and the wake, the string of wake that's coming down from the 8. Nothing else ahead here really, so we can just sort of double check by looking outside the boat a little bit, but there's nothing ahead, so it should be clear as we head down the basin. And now we get down to the 2K finish line, those two white posts there, just to the right of the sculler. And we get down to this point here where the river widens quite a lot. Now we can start letting the Hancock Tower go a little bit further off to the starboard side as we apply a little bit of port rudder, a little bit, just to start bringing that platform more into view over the port side shoulders. Not quite straight yet, still got a little bit of turning to go. We're just readjusting the line slightly as we come into the lower section of the upper basin. You can see the river widens quite a lot there, so this is the point at which we can start leaving the bank behind and heading out into the middle of the basin towards that platform. So now, again, I'm not sure if it's going to come out on the video, but normally you'd be able to see it bright and clear. There's the gold dome of the State House just over the port side shoulders here. That's our line now, just keeping that just over the port shoulders. And just using that. Still nothing behind, but looks like there's a few of those boats starting to move down, so we'll just check again on those in another couple of minutes. Okay, so as you can see, still just keeping the gold dome just on the port side, not being tempted to straighten up for the Harvard Bridge quite yet. Probably in about 10 strokes we'll start to straighten up for it. Now I'm just applying a little bit of port rudder and we'll start using the bridge itself to take our markers. So now bringing the the gold dome of the State House essentially straight down the line, so I can't see it anymore because stroke's blocking it. But that's a good sign, because that's basically the line we want to be taking. At this point we want to be heading straight for the gold dome of the State House and using other markers. So off to the port side shoulders we've got that gap in the tall buildings, and on the right we've got the new building with the slanted roof, the tallest one in the skyline over there. So keeping the gap on the left and the slanted rooftop on the right is pretty good. You can just see that lighted platform there. In another 10 strokes or so we'll actually just use that as our sole marker. I'm going to go one arch to the right of the platform. The others a little way over there. If they straighten up there, they'll be fine. 4 to the left of the platform, 4 to the right is allowable as we come down here. So now all I'm doing essentially is, you can just about see the platform there. So I'm looking at 1 pillar to the left and 2 pillars to the right. They're the only pillars that I can really see right now. So I'm just going to keep those lined up with the shoulders, and as we get closer to the bridge we can start using the actual pillars of the platform to line up with. Alright, let's tidy this up a little bit. Spring in the step, spring in the step. Focus on yourself, focus on you. Okay, and again here, probably about 15 strokes away from the bridge. The 2 actual pillars that I want to steer off of, the arch that I want to go between, is coming into full view now. So final adjustments, 1 to the right of the platform, got the platform there, got 1 pillar to the right there. And this is how I'm doing my final steer through the bridge. 10-15 strokes to go, the pillars come into view, and you can just focus your attention on final adjustments to get straight through those. Now that we've gone through the bridge, you can now see the gold dome of the State House is very much on the starboard side, and that's where we're going to keep it. Essentially we're just going to keep a straight line here, gold dome just to the starboard side. Again, that gap in the buildings where the sunlight is reflecting off the water, just to the port side, and that's the line that we're going to keep for the next 750-800 meters. The Longfellow Bridge is off there in the haze. Again, do not get tempted by the Longfellow Bridge right now. It is still about 1,200 meters away. No need to be moving across the basin quite yet. You're just going to interfere with crews coming upstream. A couple of scullers you can see over there with the launch. So let's have a check for those crews behind. All clean and clear still. They're a long way off. No need to worry about them. Sunlight, gap in the buildings, gold dome of the State House. Still just keeping those 2 lined up. That's our channel. That's our channel right now, and just keeping a straight line on that. Just keeping an eye on the other 8 at this point. We're getting close enough that any deviation in our lines is going to start to become an issue. So as much as I'm steering what I consider to be a straight line, she's probably doing exactly the same, but potentially off a slightly different marker. It does seem as if we're getting a little bit closer. So I'm just going to move to port a little bit here, just make sure that we don't get any closer than that now. And so you can see that I'm now basically heading directly towards that sunlight that I previously had on port side. Now we're heading straight towards it, and we're about 3 or 4 feet apart with blade tips, which is just about enough. Don't want to get any closer than that. You see this buoy, no wake buoy, sitting out in the middle of the basin here. That often appears in the summer. Sometimes it's been a lot closer to the Cambridge shore, but this year it's right out in the middle of the downstream lanes. So we just stick to the right of that, pick a side and stick to it. I'd prefer to stay to the right. And again, we just keep straight on this line, heading straight towards the sun right now. in many ways I'm actually using my stroke to shield me from getting blinded at this point, so it is actually quite a good idea sometimes to just steer straight into the sun. And we're still just that sort of about a boat's width away now from the other 8, so no problems there with the line. Looks like we've settled on a mutually beneficial line. Had a little bit of a different opinion earlier on in the basin, but we adjusted and now we're moving together. Alright, you're at rating 18 still. Let's keep it lively through the water. Nice and relaxed through the slide. Still not concentrating on the Longfellow Bridge. That Longfellow Bridge is still probably about 500 meters away at least right now. Yeah, probably about 500. But we're just going to keep on heading. The State House just over here on the starboard side. Basically heading towards that gap in the buildings now, in the tall buildings, since we made that little adjustment a couple of minutes ago. So we're just going to keep on that. Just keep on heading straight for the gap where the sun's shining through. Once we get down to the 2K line, which is the white line on the wall there, on the road ramp, then we can start focusing on the Harbour Bridge, the Longfellow Bridge. So at this point we're not going to be interfering with any crews starting 2K pieces. We're basically down below the 2K start line now, which is just where that tall building is there, the cream and glass one. So now I'm going to turn my attention to the arches of the Longfellow Bridge. We got the salt and pepper shaker arches, which are still under construction. The one just to the right was open yesterday or the day before, so we're going to just target ourselves at that, and a very slow, gentle curve. You can already see I've got the sun now on starboard side, already taken a little bit of rudder, and we're just going to keep that long, slow turn to port. Buoys here. There's a red one there that you can see just before the centre arch, and there's a green one which is just coming into view over the starboard shoulders here on the Boston side of the bridge there. So essentially we just want to make sure that we remember where those are. No problems here because we're heading for the first arch to the right, to the Boston side of the Salt and Peppers. And as long as Catherine holds her line there, she should be okay as well. And now we're pretty much on line for that arch, so I'm going to take the rudder off. We'll just go straight here. And as we pass through the arch, we'll need a little bit more rudder to port just to straighten up towards the Museum of Science. But right now we're good. Okay, so let's focus on the crew for a little bit. Long catches. Nice and sharp, square up early. Just keep your hands down there at 2. Give yourself that space to square into. That's better, that's good handle height. Just a little sharper, a little more disciplined. Okay, and again, sort of 15 strokes or so away here. Not quite sure which arch Catherine is planning on taking. She could still come through my arch. So I'm just going to move over a little bit to go through the left side of this arch. Yeah, looks like she's coming through with us. So we want to give each other some space. I'm not going to take the centre, I'm going to take the left-hand side of it so that we both have space to go through. Just steering off of the pillars now. 10-15 strokes away from the bridge. And we're both coming through very safely. Good stuff. A little bit more rudder to port. And now that we're through, basically heading straight down towards the Museum of Science. We got the little weather vane off to the right hand side, off to starboard side. We got a couple of tall buildings like the Royal Sinester and these ones to the right, and the Museum of Science car park or parking lot off to the port side shoulders, and there are our two markers. That's our channel now, just heading straight towards those Charles Riverboat things down there. Again, no evidence of anything on the water. It's nice and clear, no wakes, no puddles, nothing ahead of us, nothing behind us. It's just us out here, so we can have some confidence just to steer straight, maintain our line, weather vane, parking lot. Alright, swing together, swing together. Draw up the finishes, to set the platform a little more, press the toes, lift it, press the toes, lift it, steady there, good. Okay, taking a good nice straight line here, both crews just sort of 10 feet apart, something like that. Just maintain this line. Ordinarily I would probably steer a little bit to starboard at this point, just to avoid crossing into the middle of the river, but I'm kind of constrained by the other 8, so that's fine though. We're all clear down here, no problem with that. Ideally I'd start moving around as the bank curves away. There are large anchoring buoys down here as well, which the Charles Riverboat Company cruisers attach themselves to, so we won't go too far, just to avoid running into any of those. We'll weigh enough in 2. 1, 2, and drop. That's enough for me. Check it on port. Check behind, nothing coming, all good. Nothing ahead, they're over there, so we'll spin here. Port side, we're spinning to port, ready. Right. And just double checking that nothing's around, just in case of any surprises. No, all good. Way enough. Starboard's only rowing on, ready. Right. We'll just bring ourselves across the river a little bit. Ready, right. Okay, so first thing I'm seeing is, you know, just remembering these buoys. As much as there was a red and green buoy on the upstream side of the Longfellow Bridge, there's also a red and green buoy on the downstream side. Again, we're going to aim for the first arch to the right of the salt and pepper shakers. That is open at the moment, although there is a platform just to the left side of the arch that kind of gets in the way. So we're going to go between the red buoy and that platform, just where the right hand salt and pepper shakers are. Way enough. That's essentially our line. So we're on a straight line through the arch there. Just stand up, you can see that. So same again, back to the club. So the other 8's just sitting back there. They'll come and join us in a minute, but for the moment we'll just hold the line here. This is exactly where I want to be steering, a straight line back towards the bridge. The bridge is close enough at this point. We're about 400 metres away, 350 metres. The Longfellow Bridge to the wall of the Museum of Science down there is about 600, so The other crew's joining us. Caitlin, you ready? 2, take a stroke. Let's just get ourselves straight again. You see we just drifted off in the wind slightly there, and that should do way enough. Okay, so with the platform blocking half the arch, if they come for the same arch as me, it's going to be a little bit tighter, and with the bridge being at an angle to the river, what we'll probably have to do is head towards the bridge, then turn into it to port, and then out of it to starboard, just to make sure we're all clear. Okay. All right, let's move on. All right, 2 again, little stroke. Way enough. All 8. Rowing on from the finish, 3/4 pressure, rating 18, as we were. Ready? Row. Okay, so again, I can just about see that red buoy off on the starboard side shoulders. I can just about see the right-hand Cambridge side salt and pepper shaker there, and I'll just keep that. What was that? I didn't hear that. I didn't hear what he said. Okay, alright. So that's my channel. Red buoy, Cambridge side salt and pepper. And that's all I'm going to do. Just subtle, small adjustments on the river to try and hold that channel. I'm not steering to a point. I'm steering between 2 points in the 8, because there's just no way that I can possibly see directly over the bow here. And again, just checking the water conditions. Whilst we were sitting there, I didn't see any boats coming through the Longfellow Bridge. There was nothing with us as we came down, except for the other 8, which is over there. So we should be clean and clear, although we do have to start looking for evidence of boats as we start moving up above the Longfellow Bridge, because there will almost certainly be boats up there potentially starting 2K pieces, spinning around the lagoon, and community sailing. Right now, just seeing that red buoy off towards the starboard side, getting close enough now to be able to steer directly off of the pillars of the arch that I want to take. And as I said before, because this bridge is at an angle, what we probably want to do is I'm just going to stay heading towards the right hand pillar right now, so that I give myself space to put the rudder onto port, swing into the arch, and then out of it to starboard the other way. Looks like the other 8 are they're behind us now anyway, so that's fine. Okay, there's a little bit of port rudder, just straightening up for that arch now then. Good paddling, good stuff, keep it steady, keep it steady. Okay, and rudder's off here, just straight under the middle of this one. They look like they're taking the second arch, so I've got this one to myself, and I can go through it at a little bit of an angle so that we come out on the starboard side of the arch. You can see there already there's 2 4s and a pair or a double ahead, lining up onto the 2K stretch, probably about 200 meters ahead. There's another double here that's just come into view. So we're going to have to watch out for those. Rudders onto starboard now, starting to line up for the 2 white painted arches where those 2 triangular rooftops are off in the distance. And we're essentially just going to have to pick our line here. Looks like those crews are staying out wide to the Boston side. This double in front of me pretty much going straight down the middle, but because they're a sculling boat, I'm going to... What? Yeah. Thanks. Got a call from my 7 seat about the other 8. Good call. As soon as we're out onto the basin though, no need to go any further out. We'll just stay straight. They're fine where they are. Yeah, so that sculling boat looks to be moving just slightly to the Cambridge side. So what we're going to do here is we've sort of registered what's out there. Forgotten to look behind, which we should have been doing. But I'm just going to keep that sculling boat on the starboard side. These guys look like they're going to probably do a piece, but they're going to do it right out wide there. So right now I'm just going to head straight for the white painted arches, the racing arches, lanes 3 and 4, and that basically means heading directly towards that one tall building just to the right of the triangular arches. So on the one side I've got this MIT dorm tang, the one building that's just the tall building that's just above the sculling boat there, and on the other side I've got these 3 identical looking beige buildings, and that's my channel for the next 1,000 meters or so. Just coming past the 2k marker here. There's the 2k marker start, and basically just trying to continue to block out that one tall building. That's my marker, with little adjustments here and there. Still got that sculler there. These guys have started their piece, so they're not something that we really need to worry about anymore. Nothing else ahead right now. Let's just double check that. Yep, nothing else ahead. It's all us. And again, just that MIT dorm, the octagonal building there, just off to the right, just lining up on that. 3 identical buildings off to the left here, and the other crew just sort of 10 feet, 5 meters away or so, something like that. It's good distance, good distance. Oh, just a little skewed to starboard there, so I'm just going to steer back to port a little bit, just lacking finishes there, just skewed the boat off to starboard slightly. So we just straighten up immediately, try and maintain our line. Okay, I'm taking lane 3, so I'll just tell the other cox what my preferred line is. I'm going to go through the racing arches, white painted arches, so hopefully she'll go through lane 2, the one to the right. Just little adjustments, just swinging around a little bit here, just making those adjustments to keep us straight. You're rating 19 here. Long to the catch, and pressing together through the middle. Okay, rudder's a little twitchy right here. Just let's keep these finishes coming straight. Let's get a good solid run on. Off the finish. That's a better one. Boat's just twitching around a little bit, meaning that I've got to do these constant little adjustments. Now we're up and running straight though, this is good. I'm not touching the rudder at this point. Got a good run now. Let's keep it up through 5 strokes now. Run off the finish, run off the finish. That's good, yep. Steady now, steady. Okay, just double check where we are with boats. Still got the Union crews ahead there. They're not doing very much. Still got the double ahead over there. Nothing behind right now. So everything's good in the world. We'll just carry on for the next couple of minutes and check in with the boats around us again at that time. Alright, steady now on the recovery. Rushing forwards. Let's smooth it out. Smooth it out. Power in the stroke, set the platform there, let it run, flow between strokes. Okay, so still steering off those same lines. We got that tall dorm building that I was pointing out there, just where that truck is, just above the MIT boathouse. Got 3 identical buildings here, just where that truck is now. And you can start to see the white painted arch coming into view just about now. But right now, I'm just steering basically off of the arches that are one on either side of the white painted arch. That's what I'm lining up on. Let's lift it on starboard, lift the finishes on starboard. Using those yellow strips on either side. Just double check here that there's nothing blocking the arch, because the 1,000-meter mark is here. Very often crews will actually use the bridge as a starting marker for pieces or a stopping marker. So we just double check that there's nothing ahead, we're all clear. Okay, and now we're 15 strokes away. Now I can really start to just do the final adjustments on the actual arch pillars themselves. Going through lane 3, so straight underneath this yellow marker to the right. The other crew, as expected, is using lane 2. So we communicated, we agreed, and we stuck to our plans. It's good stuff. Straight under the lane 3 marker. And now we pick up a new line on the upstream side of the bridge. Right now, we really do not want to get tempted to go over towards MIT. There's the boathouse there, there's the MIT lane, and just in general, there's a little bit of a bay in the bank. So we don't want to get sucked into that bay and have to steer out of it. So right now, I'm going to start leaving this dorm behind a little bit. I'm going to start to ignore that and really start steering now off of the 2 triangular rooftops there. I think that's part of BU, and the BU bridge itself. You can just see the metal archway of the roadway, and they're my new markers. Just going to head for the gap in between those 2 things. Just passing these Union crews now. They've kept out nice and wide, giving us a channel up the middle. That's good stuff. So, as I say, triangular rooftops there, 2 triangular rooftops, and the metal arch of the roadway of the BU bridge. Just heading straight towards that tall building there. That's pretty much our marker all the way down the basin, is that tall building. Still got that double there, just moving past MIT, so they're staying to Cambridge. Got the 8 just inside us, Union crews just behind. Steady now, steady now. Okay, so still just heading up that channel, BU bridge, 2 triangular rooftops, straight up that channel. And you won't really be able to see it on the camera, but what that does is effectively put me straight towards the green markers. Okay, we got a double or a pair by the looks of it coming across the basin in front of us, a couple of 100 meters ahead now. So that's a new boat that I have to register as being ahead of me and make sure that we put them in a good place. Looks like they're going to go all the way across, or straighten up and just get moving. That's good. And it looks like we've got an 8 as well coming across in front of us. Don't know what they're doing. A couple of 100 meters ahead. It wouldn't surprise me if a couple of these other 8s that are with them start moving across too. So stuff to watch out for. Still 200 or 300 meters till we get up there though, so hopefully they are sensible and just get across the traffic. That's the little bay that we don't want to head into. That's the MIT lanes. I want to stay nice and wide of that. Okay, so we got the double, we got that 8 that are now in the MIT lane. They're safe. The other 8s did not come across. We got our 8, the Riverside 8, just ahead of us. We got that double there, the Riverside double there. So should be clean and clear. Just double check, leaning out one side and the other. Yeah, we are clear. So as I was saying before we started talking about the other boats, the one thing that you won't be able to see in this video is the green lane markers just off there. And that's what I was blocking out. That's what I was heading for all the time as we were coming up here, by looking to keep those on the left and the BU bridge on the right. Now that we're getting up to the 2K finish line though, This is the point at which we can start to think about making the turn. We don't want to head out into the middle of the river at this point. So just keep on heading for the green markers at the moment. BU Bridge on the right, triangles in that tall building just on the left hand side. Okay, so we're going to be getting fairly close to this double once we get up to the BU Bridge. BU Bridge is probably another 500-600 meters away, but we'll just have to bear that in mind as we position ourselves to the BU Bridge. Now that we're past the 2K marker, I'm going to start putting a little bit of starboard rudder on. And now we're going to be steering off of the BU boathouse on the starboard side and the BU sailing pavilion. You can just about see the masts of the sailing pavilion there on the port side. Okay, that double's coming across me. Not sure what they're planning, I guess crossing. So, yep, looks like they're crossing. Okay, well done, Riverside. Keeping it moving, threading the needle, and they are now someone that I don't need to worry about anymore. Alright, so basically at this point I'm just heading for the arch of the BU Bridge that we take upstream. Let's say BU Boathouse on the right, on starboard side, BU Sailing Pavilion, the Boston side of the BU Bridge, off on the left, and that's my channel, that's my marker, and I'm just taking a straight line from there. Just a little touch of rudder back at the 2K marker for maybe 5 strokes at most, and we're lining up nicely. Okay, so we got those Union crews coming up as well. We'll have to just keep an eye on them as we head towards the bridge. They may spin, having done pieces, they may continue up. Either way, it's one arch going up effectively, so they're going to have to deal with us. We'll just increase the power slightly though, take the rating up 1, just to be nice to them so that they don't have to change their outing too much. Up 1, power on, in 2, 1, 2, just a little sharper on the catch. Okay, looks like they're stopping, so we're okay, we're good as we are. The other 8 is several lengths in front of us, so we're clean through the BU Bridge. 15 strokes to go, and I'm starting now to steer directly off of the pillars marking the arch. They've now come into view over the shoulders of my stroke, and that's my channel. Last minute check just to make sure there's nothing stuck under the bridge. We're clean, we're clear. 5 strokes to go. Good sort of 6 feet, if not more, on either side, straight under the middle. Okay, lots of boats ahead now that we're coming into the Magazine Beach stretch. We've got what looks like that double that crossed in front of us down by BU. We got 3 or 4 singles. They're probably just going to head on upstream, probably nothing to worry about, but just something to register. These crews on the other side should not be anything to worry about unless they spin directly in front of us, and which looks like one of them did, just in front of the other 8. If I lean out a little bit, you can see that single in the red shirt there. So that's one additional boat that I hadn't picked up before. I was getting blinded on that boat, but just picked it up now. So we're just going to move out wide a little bit here just to make sure we don't give those scullers a fright. Now, essentially, because we're on a bend, I'm not steering off any distant landmarks, I'm just steering off of the bank again. Just keeping it, again, 2-3 boats widths away from the bank, much like we had when we were coming downstream on the other side. Just trying to maintain that distance, not getting too close. It does get shallow. There's some rocks that stick up occasionally. This is a good distance, and we just maintain this distance, 2-3 boats widths, somewhere in that range. Again, nothing sticks out of this bank, it's fairly straight, just tree lined. Alright, so about 3 or 4 minutes back to the boathouse here. Just coming up to the first major bend around Magazine Beach here, so rudder's going to be coming on pretty much now. Actually, rudder's on now, just to maintain that distance, sort of picking up the line from that tree that dips down into the water on the corner there. Still nothing behind as we come around the bend. It's a little bit of a bay here, so don't need to steer into that. We'll just straighten up, basically heading straight towards the Doubletree Suites ahead. Rudder's off now, rudder off. Okay, and that single in the red shirt has now stopped. Just having a little break just before Riverside. Not exactly the best place to stop, but it is what it is. So we're going to come up the inside of him. I'm not going to go around the outside at this point. And we'll head just straight towards the dock. We're going to be landing. Okay, so now let's check on the other 8. Way enough there. And drop. Okay, we'll just let the other 8 get themselves sorted out. Looks like there's a single going on as going in as well. So we'll just let them sort themselves out. We'll sort of just try and stick here in the shadow of the dock a little bit. We'll continue to drift. That single's okay, he's going to go by. Check it there. We're going to drift too far. Hopefully people get a move on the dock. Okay, so at this point, really need to keep an eye on what's coming up behind. We are sticking out a little bit, not too much. I mean, I can't get too much closer to the bank, as you can see, and it is shallow down there as well. So not much to be doing here except for just checking behind. People do like to cut this corner and shave the corner of our dock, so